Hello, and thank you for the chance to speak to you on this important topic. I'm Jason Conyard. I'm the CIO of VMware, a leading innovator in enterprise software. We're a $12 billion company with 34,000 employees around the world. We started as a virtualization company, which is about improving hardware utilization by utilizing virtual servers. That's similar to our hybrid topic today of workspaces. It's all about making the most of your resources by abstracting the physical location. I've been involved in the design and implementation of our hybrid work approach, so I'm thrilled to share what I know about supporting high-performing teams. It was a year ago that much of the world went into our COVID lockdown. I remember the moment I realized the scale of the situation. Our talent pool went from 20% working remotely to 95% within a few days last March. Now, a year later, we have a better perspective. For the most part, we've learned to cope as companies and as a society. But there have been a lot of trade-offs. We miss human interaction, and we're balancing the needs of our families. Also, working remotely is largely a knowledge worker privilege not open to everyone. Recent estimates show that remote work is available to less than 5% of the workers in service industries worldwide. Many companies in retail, healthcare, and hospitality have been resourceful in adapting. But this is a complex issue that has impacted many of the world's most vulnerable workers. As thought leaders, we have a responsibility to seek and to push for solutions that are equitable and for the long term. One thing's for sure, as we come out of the pandemic, many companies will be moving to a hybrid model. Hybrid means some workers have an assigned office space, some work remotely, and others will be in the office a few days a week. Optimizing for this model means helping people to be productive, collaborative, and engaged wherever they are. But this isn't going to happen by chance. It requires planning, and your plan should reflect your values. With VMware, our philosophy has prioritized employee success over location. For employees, this meant their work location was not determined by their manager, but it was up to the employee. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to cover 4 areas of hybrid work scenarios. You'll see that employee choice is a big part of all of them. Productivity has been a top concern in the shift to remote work. As my company, we went from 95% of our employees to remote, which was a huge challenge. And we assumed that there would be a drop in productivity. So we decided we'd do an internal survey to check. It turns out 58% of employees said they were more productive. That's consistent with the majority of studies we've looked at too. So why the boost? Well, the good news is for many of us, there's no commute. And right now there's no business travel and there are fewer office distractions. And yes, there's also the possibility that people have been concerned about job security. But there are active steps that we can take. And there are absolutely things that my IT team has taken the lead on. One is home office gear. We have a program to equip our employees with the right equipment and resources to be productive at home. Our colleagues used to love our on-site tech bar. With people working remotely, we had to shift completely to an online model. And that has also meant rethinking things like language support on our service desk. We have also thought about new behaviors and changing settings on our calendaring system to allow people 5-minute breaks between meetings. And you'll love this one, and maybe some of you have done this too. Some teams have chosen to have no Zoom meeting days. And better than that, some teams have even questioned the need to have a meeting at all to get some things done. Okay, so you know that productivity is more than a laptop and a VPN. So what about that connection? In an office, you expect high speed, reliable networks. But at home, your connection might be shared with others, it may be unreliable, or you may have lower bandwidth. At VMware, our IT team has been proactive. If we see a colleague with a poor home connection, we work with them to make it better so it is more reliable and higher performing. Okay, so we all know that we can be productive working alone. But collaboration is a group event. We expect to engage each other in conference rooms and around whiteboards. So I did some informal research. I Googled collaboration at work to see what images came back. I can tell you this. Number one, high fives are very popular, at least in all of the photo shoots. And two, nearly all of the images showed people working together in space and time. Of the 30 photos, only one showed collaboration via a virtual method. Think about that. If collaboration cannot happen virtually, every organization would suffer. And it will be especially hard for companies that depend on creativity and innovation. As a software innovator, we had to find ways for our people to get together to make that magic happen. Again, this was an area that our IT team took an active role. This is an internal promo for our virtual reality program. Any team can request loaner gear to meet in virtual space. These can be used for immersive training, campus tours, new hire training, and more. We also have whiteboarding apps for real-time brainstorming and also asynchronous communication. But I'll just say, be sure as you think about these tools, make sure they integrate with your other collaboration apps and that they're accessible to people with disabilities. The last thing on this, tools are only as good as their adoption. I've been proud to see our IT team look beyond tools and get passionate about sharing best practices and guides. They understand that success is about adoption and that requires thoughtful change management. Last July, we sponsored a third-party survey of 5,700 global decision makers on the subject of distributed work. 62% of the respondents said that collaboration was equal to or better than before. Now, that's not everybody, but it shows that we can collaborate virtually. It's just that the Google images need to catch up. Now let's talk about recruiting and retention. This is where we find one of the most promising effects of the hybrid work practices. Organizations have traditionally placed offices in major cities, and location was deciding the hiring and indeed where people would live. Look at the difference. When home offices are business offices, every employee location is a workplace. The distribution is broader, less centralized, and a wider pool of talent means more great candidates and helps with our diversity goals. It's good for retention too. When employees can live where they want, their quality of life and job satisfaction increases. That boosts loyalty and retention, which drives down turnover and increases efficiency and morale. It's a virtuous circle that kicks in, all based on employee choice. Hybrid work supports our equity goals too. So equity is about providing a level playing field for everyone. For example, in-person settings tend to favor those who are physically and verbally predominant. Remote work is changing that. In our July survey, 65% of respondents felt more empowered to speak up in virtual meetings than in person. And 69% said team members were more likely to be candid with leaders. There's another finding from our original research. Pre-pandemic, less than 1/3 of respondents considered the remote work option a requirement. Looking ahead, many more respondents are considering remote work a non-negotiable. That's a fast change from perk to prerequisite, and it's most pronounced in North America. Here we come to culture. Our Chief People Officer, Betsy Sutter, has a saying, "People join communities, not companies." I love that saying because it reminds us of how connected we are with our colleagues. But what does that mean in a time of less togetherness? We had to rethink our cultural building blocks and find new rituals and behaviors that will keep us connected. For example, we've been using chat and polling features in Zoom much more to encourage spontaneous interactions. Our company meetings were moved from our Palo Alto gym to online, and that's more accessible, there's higher attendance, and you know what? They're less expensive. And then there's our annual user conference, VMworld. It's now online too, and our audience is bigger, and it also affords the opportunity for our employees to attend. Technology has a role to play as well. We knew that people were feeling disconnected because so many interactions are virtual. As humans, we miss real faces. As a result, our internal photo management system was born. It's an online tool that lets people share photos across our corporate applications. You can choose a formal photo from the company directory or change to a casual shot for Teams and Slack that's much more conversational. It'll even generate an avatar for you if you'd like. And again, this is all based around employee choice. One of the best outcomes is seeing people's faces across our enterprise apps. Seeing a co-worker's smile in the procurement system, well, that's a delightful surprise. This doesn't necessarily sell more product, but right now it's important and a welcome capability that really is important when we're craving more human interaction. I'm an IT guy, and up to this point, I haven't got too techy, and I promise you I won't. But as we pivot to hybrid work scenarios, a shift is occurring. Home internet service is now business service, with security and performance issues to consider. But home is also where we live, so we need to balance privacy protections too. Looking at security, there's no more remote access, it's just access. So as we shift to remote, we really need to move away from the idea of headquarter and branch office connectivity to newer zero trust or software-defined perimeter models. With privacy, we need to be mindful of how we deal with personal data now that our home office equipment includes cameras and microphones. This is a new area for many of us who manage corporate networks and systems, and it will require our constant vigilance to enable and protect our employees. To sum up, it's clear that the hybrid work model is here to stay. Fortune magazine just completed this US poll. The hybrid model is the top employee choice. As IT and business leaders, our job is to enable our colleagues to do their best work while delivering a great experience. Before I wrap up, let me give a shout out to IT professionals who have been so crucial during this time. You have often been unnoticed, but you have been essential and will be for our future hybrid working models. Now, I imagine many in the audience are attending and are devising their own hybrid work plans. So here are some takeaways. Number one, it's all about people. Talk to them, listen to them, and offer them choice. Two, the home office, even if it's the corner of a kitchen table, is a business office. It needs high levels of reliability, connectivity, and security while balancing privacy. Three, build a robust planning team with members from diverse disciplines. Their perspective will make your plan stronger, and make sure you include your IT team as well. Fourth and finally, let's all recognize this moment for what it is. It's a profound opportunity for us to move things forward in support of our fellow employees, customers, and society in general. I've enjoyed talking to you today, and thank you for the opportunity.
Excellent, Jason. Loved your insights. And we do have two questions. So you ready?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, good. Abigail is saying, I'm interested in your emphasis on people. Is this a personal philosophy you've always had, or is it something a bit more recent?
It's certainly a personal philosophy for me, and certainly had a marked impact on how I've navigated my career. And I think the great thing as well is that I work at VMware, where that's equally a priority for us. So it's kind of a match made in heaven.
That makes sense. Great. And Seth is asking, can you talk a little bit more about how you were able to pivot so quickly to remote work?
Yeah, that's a great question, and probably a talk all in and of itself. But the short version is a lot of the things that we needed to have to be able to make that pivot so dramatically were already in place, and a lot of them candidly are VMware products. And they made it possible for our employees to have what they need on their systems already. And while people may have needed an extra monitor or a microphone or a camera, in terms of productivity, all of their tools are ready to go. Everything from virtual desktops and servers all the way through to the security and the network performance tools that we have.
Excellent. Thanks again, Jason.
Thank you.